Gathering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome to the Autistic Delicatessen.
I think of cooking as an art.
There's nothing most Hispanics love more than a nice little empanada.
Lo que comas, lo que bebas, es tu historia.
This is literally a hug in a bowl.
What's on your plate is how we relate.
And welcome to another episode of the Autistic Delicatessen. I'm your host, Larnell, along with Shalise, Nico, and Melissa. Melissa is off on this episode, but we have a very fantastic guest for you. His name is Joe, aka Mr. Tampa Bay, and he does food content around the Tampa Bay and St. Pete area, going out to different eateries and checking out different types of drinks. So, Joe, welcome to the Autistic Delicatessen.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. This is such a awesome time. Always a fun time talking about food and the journey and everything else. And you're all doing such an amazing job, like with everything you've been putting together. So kudos to you all.
Well, thanks a lot for that. Now, Joe, what first got you into doing food content creation in terms of around Tampa and St. Pete?
So it didn't necessarily start with food. It started more with I had a consulting company. I was working with a lot of places in hospitality, and I was doing internet marketing. And, you know, I wanted to do some stuff that was like promoting our region. So starting to talk with like the city of downtown Tampa and Ybor, and I was part of all these boards and chambers and stuff like that. And, you know, saw that they're not going to do what needs to be done. There's too much bureaucracy, and there's, you know, too many, it's a headache. And then I had the idea of building something that would support everybody in a community, region, community, whatever that might be, because I was already working with them. So it's like I can either do work for a restaurant, or I can build something that can promote all different types of restaurants and fun things to do, stuff like that. So that was kind of the infancy of that idea. But then also a lot of the testing initially was the naming. I don't know if people give a lot of thought to the name of stuff, but this is back in 2013 where, you know, there wasn't influencers kind of weren't a thing yet. They sort of were, but figuring out what name converted into followers the best. So XYZ is awesome. I really just did the best for me. I did a bunch of cross testing of different names. And that always did fantastic. So that was kind of the very beginning of everything back in 2013, 2014, getting everything rolling.
So, do you have any favorite eateries that you've been to so far? Because I know, like, you've been out to, you're saying offhand, Joe, you went to Paul's in Clearwater. I know you tried some Chicago pizza, though.
I mean, look, I'm at like 2 to 3 places 3 times a week. So, I mean, anywhere from 6 to 10 places. And it's a blast. Do I have any favorites? I think it's all around, like, if you say, where's your favorite, you know, pizza spot or Vietnamese spot, like, or really specific menu items, I think is kind of I don't want to say underappreciated, underrated, because it's just like, I can think of, all right, if I want pho, I'm going to one place. If I want sandwiches, like what kind of sandwich? Do I want a Cuban sandwich? Do I want an Italian sandwich? Do I want this sandwich? So there's always so many, like, where's the go-to for this one specific thing? Because it's very rare that you have a place that's like, I mean, I go to restaurants where I do love and appreciate and everything is awesome, but I'm still probably going to go there and stick with like 1 or 2 menu items. Like, this is why I'm coming here, because they just blow it out of the water. You know, so many, like, Buoys at St. Pete Beach. They've got a fantastic mahi, banana crusted mahi. The Helm has a ton of great stuff. I don't even know. They got a shrimp BLT that I've never seen anywhere else that I love. Frankie's Deli with their Fat Boy sandwich. I mean, I can.
Oh, a shrimp BLT, though. That sounds really interesting. I almost feel like I want to try that, Joe.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
so they chop up the shrimp and they make a patty out of it. And it's very little breading, but it's just enough to kind of hold it all together. So kind of like they do it almost like crab cake style, but with shrimp. And it's out of this world.
Honestly, I'm sold. I, too, am sold.
Listen, I don't eat shrimp. I don't eat shrimp very often, but when I do, I usually find like some of the best ones to get it, and that does sound like a really good one. And I'm definitely gonna try that when I go to Tampa Bay.
It is funny you say that. Like, I don't typically order shrimp anything.
I eat shrimp
Not for
quite
any
a bit.
reason.
I love shrimp.
If you're at a place and they have something called rock shrimp, get it. Like rock shrimp, it's a little bit, I don't say more like lobster, but you don't see it very many places at all because it's like the shell is a stone. Like they cut it, they have to use the metal, a saw to open them all up. And man, they are amazing. I have no idea if there's like if they probably have to do them one by one. That's probably one of the reasons why not a lot of places carry them.
Okay.
But they are so. I only know of 2 or 3 places that have them.
Rock shrimp.
And they are spectacular.
Oh,
wow,
man.
they sound good. But I can just imagine.
They're just a little bit different. They're a little sweeter. They're not as, I would say, like rubbery, because if obviously you get good shrimp, they're not really rubbery at all. They're not like peel and eat shrimp. Like they're just, you're like, oh wow, these are banging.
But with them being so hard to open, that makes sense why a lot of places wouldn't carry them.
Absolutely. You're in Georgia, right, Celise?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Yeah.
There's this really good seafood restaurant called Bay Breeze here in Georgia. We've got like 3 different locations that I know of. And they sell everything from lobster to all the types of fish to crab legs. Like they sell all kinds of seafood. And
where in Georgia are you?
Outside of Atlanta.
Outside of Atlanta.
Yeah. Like,
I love going over to Savannah. Like Savannah is kind of our go-to.
Dude,
I like Savannah
spot.
too. It's really charming in Savannah.
When I say that Savannah has probably the most underrated food scene, I mean it, dude. Like their foodie scene is wild. Everything is like so close to each other, and you could just like it's like New York. You could just walk right over there, and you're already satisfied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting though, because I know like the times I've been to Georgia, like the only times I've been to Georgia is during like family reunions though. But I know like they're very like all about their southern hospitality. Even going to Brunswick, it's like Brunswick is all about that, So yeah.
Yeah, the South Georgia is really about hospitality, but when you get up to North Georgia and the Atlanta area, not so much. You have a lot of Northerners who migrated to North Georgia. It's a lot of Northerners that migrated there, and so that Southern culture is not the same as it would be in the South of Georgia.
Have you been to Helen, Georgia?
Oh, heck yeah. I love Helen, Georgia. Like it makes me feel like I'm in Germany without getting on a plane.
It's so crazy.
I love it.
I remember when we were there, it feels very like Disney-esque, since it's so themed.
I live about an hour.
And I remember being there, and the server comes and starts talking, and I'm like in my kind of mental Disney World phase where like they're going to come over and they're going to have like a German accent, and they do not have a German accent.
No. I tried to speak German when I was.
We are still in Georgia.
I tried to speak German when I was there, and they did not respond when I spoke German. And I'm like an hour. I actually live an hour outside of Helen, so I'm not too far.
That's cool. That's a cool town. Cool town.
And I just gotta tell you, Joe, like, how do you go about finding these hidden gems in Tampa and St. Pete in terms of like these restaurants? Do you get them from friends? Do you look online? Like, how does that happen for you? And then you're able to review these places.
I mean, say really a combination of stuff. 30-40% of the time, maybe they're reaching out to me like, "Hey, man, we'd love to have you come by, try stuff out, come see what's going on." A lot of times, like, it's places that I've driven by, and it's like, I'm curious to go check out what's in there. Temple Terrace in our area, where up until the last like 2 months, I didn't realize like there's a huge Middle Eastern population over there, and there are so many restaurants with so many flavors and unique dishes that like no one even knows exists. So you pass by these places, like you don't understand the sign, you're probably not going in. So, checking out that stuff and friends, you see someone else do a video,
let me tell you something, Joe. Like I remember from Food by Taina, I went to this like Middle Eastern place, this like Palestinian place.
Al Tabat, probably.
Yes,
Kanafa?
yes, and they have like I was there because they had like free food and all that stuff, but their stuff there, it's all Palestinian oriented, like candy or just like treats and those type of things, though. Like I tried one of their samples though. I think they also had like kafafa or
Kanafa.
kanafa. Yes, kanafa. Have you ever tried the kanafa?
Yeah, I did a whole bunch of stuff over there too. So it was funny that Tiana kind of. It's funny when anyone
Sorry, Tiana. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Kind of does something in a genre of an area, and then like everybody starts blowing you up. So she had done something there. The video did great. They want her to do more stuff, and then everyone else in that community sees that, oh wow, that video did amazing. So then everyone starts reaching out to her. I have like the same thing in kind of the Latin community around Armenia and waters and all that stuff. It's like you do one video that blows up, everyone's watching it, and now everyone's reaching out to you to come try their stuff. And I mean the same thing over there with Al Tabad, and there's a ton of places on 56th Street. I did it with Istanbul, was kind of the first one that's on Florida.
Istanbul, okay.
Man, they're spectacular. But I just went and had lunch, did a video, it blew up, and he's just like, oh wow, people care. Like, this is an effective way to do marketing. And that's a lot of times what it takes is someone kind of breaks the mold a little bit. Like, because some of these places, they're not on social. They're not doing a lot of stuff on social. But then they're like, holy shit, like 100 people just came in the last 2 days after like we did a video. I mean, it's a very, humbling thing and exciting thing to see when a video really crushes it, and like we change businesses. I mean,
you bring amazing customers. It's kind of like an advertisement, really, with food content. Yeah.
I think Tiana can say the same thing. Many of our colleagues can say the same thing. Like you'll have, and everyone ends up kind of having like the one or two restaurants, 20, 30 restaurants that like they're always reaching back out to you to come do promo. So I'll say from like a differentiation side of things is like I came from marketing. Like I understand and think of the business context of what we're doing. So how are you pricing things? What's the ROI going to be? How many times can you do stuff where like there's a law of diminishing return a lot where I can't talk about the same place like over and over and over and over.
Yeah,
and over.
yeah.
By having all the pages on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok allows me to spread that out. But, when you've been in whatever other industry, you made a page about food, people like it. Like you just know people like your stuff. Like you haven't learned marketing, and a lot of influencer-y people kind of, I definitely see like, oh, I can manage someone else's social. I was like, no, you can't. Like you have no fucking clue how to manage and do any of that business. That's a completely different business. Like managing a restaurant's social media is not the same as being a foodie influencer.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's crazy.
And I have taken time to
everybody
realize
sees
that.
some money, and I understand.
Oh.
Look, I mean, I get it. People are offering you money, and you're just like, cool, how can I, diversify and figure it out? And, I'm probably one of the oldest, I mean, I'm turning 40 next month, so I'm definitely, like
Joe,
OG.
Joe, let me tell you something. Like, I'm going to turn 40 in September, so I'm right there. I'm on that age part right there. So, yes, we're getting up there, Joe. We're getting up there. Yeah.
Y'all looking pretty good for 40, though.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all
thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Both of y'all.
Since I've been 20, I've been bald. I basically, as long as like I don't get wrinkly, my beard's getting some grays. I have a daughter now, so she.
Yes, like that.
Turns it up.
There's been some small strand of gray, Joe. It's like, oh no. It's like, but anyway, like, yes, but I still look good though, because I guess being black, like that's a whole different thing though. At least I don't look wrinkly or something like that. Like, because people don't think that I'm close to 40, but they think that I'm younger than what I look, which is good,
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have guessed 40.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm learning that. Oh, that's good because the more because we're all gonna age, but the more I don't look my age, I feel good about myself. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Joe, real quick, like if me, Nico, and Shalise were in the Tampa Bay, well, I'm in the Tampa Bay area, but if we were all in the Tampa Bay area together, like what restaurants and what food and drinks would you recommend?
Oh man. So 4-2 is one of my favorite spots. I get to go in a couple weeks. They're down in St. Pete. They are like one of my top 5. Like, it's it's expensive. It's not like Michelin bouginess, but it's not a cheap place. They are absolutely fantastic. Tampa side, Bamboozle, Vietnamese. That's like, I could just live there. I love everything that she's doing. Frankie's Deli's Italian food, but like sandwiches, they're making fresh mozzarella, they're pastries, like it's just a very New York style place. I was just hanging out with her the other day, and like her and her family, they were in New York, they've lived here for years now, and like they're the only ones here. Everyone else still lives in Italy. Mm-hmm. So it's so wonderful. I love hanging out there and with that family. Michael's Grill in Carrollwood, super tasty. LPX, which is next to La Pequeña. La Pequeña is great too, but LPX for brunch, man, like they got these little waffles that have a little salt in them, and they do eggs Benedict with like pan di bono bread. Dude, it's so hard. Like I can literally just list off hundreds of menu items and be like, where should I go? It's kind of like, what are you guys
Did you just
in
say
the
pan
mood
di bono?
for? And you want to make a day out of an area,
I am a lover for pan de bono because as a Colombian myself, you can never go wrong with that.
Oh, dude, then yeah, LPX and La Pequeña, like you got to go. So LPX, the way they described it to me, so La Pequeña is more very traditional Colombian, and LPX is his son's restaurant, which is more like
fusion,
new ideas and Colombian dishes, stuff like that. So yeah, it's that's the spot right there. Yeah. You gotta go check that out.
Have you ever tried Colombian dishes, Shalise?
I really haven't tried many, but I always wanted to.
But man, Joe, like, how should we find you on the socials and follow you?
Look, so I've everything food related, all that stuff. Tampa Bay's awesome, St. Pete's awesome, Dunedin's awesome, Clearwater Beach is awesome. I've launched Mr. Tampa Bay. So I've been doing real estate stuff for about 8 or 9 years now as well, and like that page is still food stuff, but that's kind of what's going to end up propelling and pushing some real estate stuff. We're doing that. We're doing tons of free events, tons of giveaways, real estate promo stuff. So Mr. Tampa Bay is kind of like the behind the scenes of all the food stuff, and then I throw in some real estate stuff here and there too. So yeah, any of those channels, pretty much Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is just Tampa Bay and Mr. Tampa Bay. And I'm pushing a lot more stuff on YouTube now too, just to keep it spread out and diversified and grow that channel out.
You should probably consider having those like honey glazed Cuban sandwiches and then convince people, hey, we'll give you this if you can actually buy this house over here. Do some house flipping in the midst of giving away food.
Oh, that's what we're doing, man. Like, every time that we have a property that sells, we're having a party or we're doing giveaways. Instead of making some, we just sold this house post that no one cares about. It's like, hey, free honey Cubans tomorrow at West Tampa Sandwich Shop. Why? Because we just sold this house. Like, we're constantly just giving people stuff and showing off cool places and using that for our announcements and just kind of making things a bit different, shaking it up.
All right. Well, folks, please follow Joe, a.k.a. Mr. Tampa Bay, on socials. Joe, we'd like to thank you for coming on to the Autistic Delicatessen and really showing us the different eateries and the different places. And, of course, a good way to market on food.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to hanging out more.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Autistic Delicatessen. Please follow us on YouTube by liking and subscribing to us, as well as our Instagram page at instagram.com/the Autistic Delicatessen.
You can find me on Neurodivergent Millionaire across all the social medias, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Threads, Neurodivergent Millionaire.
You can find me on Food on the Spectrum on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads.
And until next time, Shalise.
What's on your plate is how we relate.